We are following breaking news from overnight in Ukraine. A massive and deadly attack on that country's energy infrastructure just hours ago, burning high rises and leaving parts of the capital, Kyiv, and other cities without power and water. Good morning. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Thanks for being with us on this Friday. We'll get to Michelle Beck, who's tracking the latest out of Ukraine in just a minute. But first, we're going to check in with John for a look at your weekend forecast. It is noticeably warmer this morning than it has been this week.
It is so much warmer this morning. I'm not wearing the fall coat here. Just going old school. It's warmer. It's 55 degrees here in the backyard. Feels great. Very nice morning. So temperature change. We're doing a little whiplash effect here. We're going up this morning, and then you can see the cooler air is out to the northwest. Now, it doesn't mean a cool day. It just means that we have a cold front coming in, cooler tomorrow morning. So again, the reasoning for a warm start, despite having what is obviously a cold front, is you had added cloud cover during the late evening hours Thursday, so your temperature didn't drop right away. Now, the rain is definitely gone, and there wasn't a whole lot of it. But temperature-wise right now, 57 in the metro, 54 in St. Cloud, 50 in Alexandria. This is just a weak cold front, and you know that because we're not seeing a major temperature drop behind this. It's 40 in Thief River Falls. And you can see, yes, it's a northwest wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour. The front just passed. You can see that with those southwest winds in Wisconsin. But that actually makes today awesome. 65, 66. Winds are going to be out there at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cece.
Good morning. Hope you're having a good Friday morning. Taking a look here at the bigger map in the Twin Cities Metro. Things are perfect in the Twin Cities Metro, very quiet. But I do want to head up to Rogers. If you're waking up there, there's a crash here on Highway 101 southbound. Fire just got to the scene. You see it's blocking this intersection here. From what I've seen, you can still go north and south. So if you're headed toward 94, you can still take this route. But if you're trying to head between this intersection, a lot of people have had to turn around and take some side streets to get back onto the main highway. So I'm going to keep my eye on this area, let you know what happens here, and if you need to just completely avoid this way altogether if the backup gets too bad. But again, they are directing traffic out there as they try to clear up this situation. I'll also reach out to the Minnesota State Patrol to see what's going on over there. Otherwise, this is a look at drive times in that area, impacting both sides, really, southbound and northbound there. Otherwise, besides keeping my eye on that, I'm also going to be talking about some weekend closures. I've already covered the closures in Golden Valley and on 494. So next we'll head to St. Paul, 94, and up in Maple Grove on Highway 610.
All right, good information. We'll check back in with you on that, Cece. Thank you. Let's get to that breaking news in Ukraine. A massive and now deadly attack overnight on the country's energy infrastructure. Michelle Beck's at the live desk with what we've learned in the last few hours. Michelle?
Yeah, hey, Lauren, we got to get to some powerful new video coming in. This is just a snippet showing the damage that Russian drone and missile strikes have had across Ukraine. Its president giving the latest numbers overnight. At least 20 were hurt and a child was killed. Look here at the rescues happening in the capital city of Kyiv. The target is the civilian and energy infrastructure, especially as things start to get really cold. Those are words from President Zelensky dropping around 1:30 our time. And right now he says crews are working to restore water supply and power as blackouts are reported across several different regions. And this right here are additional photos that President Zelensky has posted as he calls on decisive action from the U.S., Europe, and the rest of the G7 related to air defense systems and enforcing sanctions. Lauren, I'll be watching for any new updates he posts. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you. Developing in just the last couple of hours, Israel is starting to pull back its forces from Gaza. That's in line with a ceasefire deal that requires them to leave within 24 hours. The Israeli government formally approved a ceasefire yesterday to end the brutal 2-year war. President Trump is expected to travel to Egypt in the next few days for the signing of that deal. Now, under the agreement, Hamas must release all hostages it's still holding, which is believed to be 20 still alive and the remains of 28 more. Israeli troops have to withdraw from Gaza in stages and free hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
We have all waited far too long for this moment. Now we must make it truly count.
Israel and Hamas have only agreed to phase 1 of the deal. Key issues to still be worked out include which Palestinian prisoners will be released, who will govern Gaza, and will Hamas disarm. Taking you live this morning to the U.S. Capitol on what is now day 10 of the government shutdown. Right now, Congress is still deadlocked with no real solution in sight. And the Senate went home and won't return until Tuesday. The impacts from the shutdown are growing this morning. And if you're traveling, you might feel it. Audrey Russo joins us now from MSP for a closer look at what's happening with air travel. Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning. This is the third time this week that I've been at MSP monitoring conditions, and for the third time this week I can tell you that things are looking pretty good. All the flights are on time, save one canceled flight out of Milwaukee. Here in Terminal 1, the TSA line is fairly short. Same situation over at Terminal 2. But there's a perfect storm brewing because MEA weekend starts next week. So if lawmakers don't strike a deal as soon as they go back to work on Tuesday, it's likely that MSP's second busiest travel point in the season is going to be impacted. Now, just yesterday, there were 1,000 delays nationwide, and there's some reported today. This is coming from air traffic controllers who aren't getting paid during the shutdown. The DOT chief, Sean Duffy, has threatened to fire employees who call out of work.
We're having maybe a bit of a rebellion by air traffic controllers caused by the shutdown. But my message to them, they work for me. They got to go to work, show up, control the airspace, and eventually you're going to get paid.
Now, as for MEA weekend, I did reach out to MSP officials to see exactly what plans they have in place for any potential shutdown impacts. MEA starts on Thursday, so they say their really busy time starts to pick up on Wednesday. Now, MSP officials tell me they're planning on releasing more information as early as Monday as to what they're going to do. So stay tuned for that, but until then, I'll send things back to you.
That is going to be a big test at MSP. Audrey, thank you. We have an update this morning on the deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago. A federal judge has now blocked the move for 2 weeks. In her ruling, she said she found no evidence of rebellion in the state and said the troops could cause civil unrest. A similar case in Oregon is still under consideration. While that plays out, Governor Tim Walz says he's preparing for the possibility of National Guard troops being deployed to Minnesota.
Local police should know where they're at and those type of things. We're trying to figure out what would that chain of command and communication look like and how would we talk to the public.
It is important to note there's been no indication so far the White House is planning on sending troops here, but Walz says these preparations are necessary just in case. By the end of this month, Minneapolis police are expected to release the findings of their response to a months-long neighbor dispute that led to a high-profile shooting. Last year, John Sawchak allegedly shot Davis Moturi in the neck from inside his house. Moturi alleges Sawchak harassed him for months prior to the shooting, but he says police did little to help him. Yesterday, the city council unanimously passed a legislative directive to authorize the police department to publicly release the internal review regarding this case.
As city leaders, we have the authority to do oversight over the police department and over the entire Frye administration. And it's our job to understand where are the gaps in services. Where are we not really meeting our equity goals when it comes to the delivery of those services?
In April, prosecution was paused against Sawchak because he was found incompetent to stand trial. Minnesota is officially launching a 10-year drinking water action plan to preserve safe water in all parts of the state. It's the first time the state has ever developed a comprehensive plan to protect our drinking water. The plan calls for continued investments in infrastructure and identifies areas of concern, like gaps in protections for the million Minnesotans who use private wells. The Minnesota Department of Health is leading this effort. MDH and its partners plan to update the plan every 2 years over the next decade. Royalton High School is getting ready for their time in the national spotlight tonight. They're in the top 25 of the T-Mobile Friday night 5G lights competition, hoping to win $1 million for a new football stadium. That accomplishment earned them a special home game celebration, and that celebration is going to be tonight at 7. This video shared on the Royalton Football Facebook page shows why they need your help to win the field makeover. You can see the students spray painting where fans can set their own chairs because there's only a handful of bleachers. So far, they're doing pretty well. They've climbed their way to 8th place after beating out more than 2,000 schools from across the country. And they're the only school left in Minnesota. So whether or not you are from Royalton, you can support this town and their high school, voting every day from now until October 24th.